thing that you really need to focus on when you're trying to get your ideal bride is, who is your ideal bride? Like, who is that person? And I'm talking about going a little deeper than just, I want to work with a bride that has money, or I want to work with a bride who wants to do a destination wedding. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
knowing them intimately.
Knowing their mindset.
Right.
Because there are lots of brides out there, right? This time of year, everyone's getting engaged. They got engaged over the holidays. But you have to know what their pain points are.
Right.
Like, you need to know what is keeping up your ideal bride at night.
Right.
All right? What are they losing sleep over when it comes to their wedding? What is their number one frustration that is stopping them from getting their wedding planned or their honeymoon planned? Because until you know that, you're not going to be able to connect with them on a level. Everybody can market to somebody, right? I mean, anybody can go to a bridal show and get a bunch of leads lists and just start sending out emails to everybody. But those days of that working are gone.
Right.
I mean, the canned spam laws that are out right now are the toughest they've ever been in the world, in the United States. Email servers now there's all kinds of filters on spam emails. I mean, you have to make sure that your ideal bride really wants to connect with you.
Right.
Because if she does, that's a good thing. That means she's going to give you the email address you need. She's not going to give you a garbage one that they give at bridal shows, right? The Hotmail and they're going to give you their Gmail. They're going to give you the right one. They're going to make sure that you're on their white list so that you can connect with them. Right. And that's why knowing your ideal bride is so important, because your ideal bride's pain points, if she knows that you get her, and I know, like I said, our 20K student, we talked about this a lot, but when your ideal bride knows that, oh my gosh, they get me, they really understand my pain,
right,
that's how they start liking you and wanting to know more about you, and they start trusting you.
Right.
All right? And I'm assuming everybody on here is trustworthy. We're assuming that everybody on here does want to make sure they plan their wedding perfectly.
Right.
They do want to make sure the outcome is excellent.
Right. This industry hires people of integrity who care about these brides and grooms and the end result and helping them fulfill their vision. But one of the things that we did to figure out who our ideal bride was, first of all, we worked with the people that weren't our ideal bride, which I said before is a Walmart bride.
That was one way to figure it out, yes.
But I had to look at what did I want to ultimately end up with? What was my end goal here in being in business? And if my end goal was to make, let's just say I wanted to work with 10 brides a year and I wanted to make at least 6 figures a year, I needed to figure out, how can I do that? How do I make $100,000 at least in a year and have only 10 clients or even less, right? Then I know I've got to make at least $10,000 from each one of those brides.
Right.
So how do I make $10,000? What type of bride do I need to be talking to who's going to help me make that $10,000? How many guests does that bride need to have? What type of resort are they going to be selecting in order for me to be able to have the bonus commission, right? And the resort commission and the wedding commission, and of course my professional planning fee. All of that adds up, right? But I have to look at this from perspective of, what's my vision? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? So if I want to make $20,000 from planning one wedding and I want to work with 5 brides, I got to figure out what type of bride do I need to be attracting and talking to, and what does that bride need? And so that's how eventually you kind of have to start with the end in mind, and then you work your way backwards in order to figure out, now who is that bride and how can I help her?
We'll make a list. We'll make a profile. I mean, it doesn't take super long, but we'll actually list out her name. We'll make a name up for our ideal bride, right? So Susie, Destination Wedding Bride. It's a terrible example. I'm sorry, and then what's her age? She's 27 to 35. She's a professional. She works with and her fiance works too. It's a busy working couple. They are the type of couple that will use Grubhub or they'll use Shipt because they like service. Right. So we're going after that ideal bride who she values service. She values someone helping her. They're busy. Right. And when you're busy, you need help planning a wedding, just a regular wedding, right? All you guys know that are planning regular weddings or regular wedding planners. these girls are busy trying to figure that out. So, and it can even be more overwhelming for a destination wedding at times.
Right.
And so that's where all of us come in, right? We're hoping that they're going to turn to us for help. But the number one thing that you do not want them to like, their number one obstacle, if their number one obstacle is money, is price, then you have to decide, okay, is this the right person?
Right.
You know, money is always going to be an obstacle a little bit, right? I mean, if you find a client that comes to you and says, hey, money's no object, whatever we have to do, then please, first of all, drop to your knees and thank God.
Praise God.
Yeah. And then let us know, because I don't think we've ever encountered a bride that has said, money's no object, or the father of the bride says, money's no object, because that would be a dream bride for all of us, right?
That's right.
But money can't be their number one obstacle.
Right.
That's the Walmart. The Walmart bride is someone that cares so much about the money that she can't even see your value. Right. And I've shared this story with our 20K planners before. It's a little humorous, but here's my example, right? Walmart bride, you're driving down the road and you see the Walmart bride there is by the side and she needs help. She's holding a sign up, help me with my destination wedding. And you open the door and you decide to let her in. So she's in your car and now you're driving with her and you're like talking to her and you're telling her all the things, giving her some ideas of where she could go for a wedding and, oh, you don't want to do that, and how to get your guests ready and save the dates, and you're giving her all this information. And she's sitting there going, yep, this is great. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Can you stop the car for a second? And you stop the car for a second. And she says, I think there might be a flat tire. Could you go look it real quick? I think you get out of the car, right? She jumps in the driver's seat. She leaves you by the side of the road and says, thank you for your information. I got it. Bye-bye. And she's boom, down the road. But before she leaves you, she sees you in the rearview mirror and something tugs on her heartstrings. And she backs up and runs you over. Right? The Walmart bride will absolutely take your information, they'll waste your time, and they will use you and abuse you.
Yes.
And then they're gone. And that is not who you want to work with. Now, if you have a plan for a Walmart bride, if you have like a system for that, that would be great. But most of us, I find them to be very low profit, a lot of wasted time, and not a lot of payoff. And so that's why.
So you have to define who it is that you're here to serve. We cannot serve everyone. And you know what Lou and I found also is we were out there spending money on marketing, right? We were hiring these ad experts and we were doing all the things that they said to do. We were investing in our business. We weren't afraid to spend money to make money, okay? But what we found was that because our message and who we were there to serve wasn't clear, we were talking to no one. If you're trying to talk to everyone, you talk to no one. And so you have to really take some time to think about who it is that you want to help. And you know, if you're kind of more of that casual, laid back, toes in the sand type of person, and that's the type of person you're going to attract, then that's awesome. Work with those people, because you know that you're going to have a really good relationship with them. Because when you're working with somebody for so long, you should enjoy that process and working with them and getting to know them and creating that relationship with them. So, you know, it's not always about the money, right? You know, you do want to be able to get paid what you're worth, but you also want to be able to enjoy what you do for a living and work with people who really appreciate you and who really value you. That
really is the key, is they need to value service. They need to value that this might cost me some money, but it's worth it because I'm going to get. So that's why our next Facebook Live, we're going to be talking about how to create that content, that information that is going to get your ideal bride. So you got to figure out who your ideal bride is, number one. Who is she? What are her pain points? What keeps her awake at night? Why can't she get her wedding done without you? What is the number one thing you can do for her right now to help solve her pain, right? Because if you know that, if you can figure that out, then that's going to determine your Facebook messages you send out, any blog posts you write, any videos you create, all of it should be directed directly to your perfect bride. That doesn't mean you're not going to get variations of your perfect bride. There's going to be variations of it. You're not always going to get the perfect one, but when they have similarities with each other, you're going to be able to speak to them because you're hitting them at similar points.
Right.
And that's the good news, because not every one of our brides that we deal with is our perfect bride, but they have enough of those characteristics that it works well with us.
Right.
All right.
So I would say, start with thinking about what is it for us, we have a 20K system and toolkit. We have a 20K community. So everybody in our community, their goal is really to make that $20,000 from one wedding or event that they plan.
Right.
So we take them to, they start with that. Like, that's where they want to be, right? That's not going to be like the very first people that hire them are going to be a 20.
I mean,
I'm saying?
It could be, but
but sometimes you got to, get some experience and everything like that. But, you do have to have that in mind when you're setting everything up for all of your messaging, for all of your social media. You're speaking to someone specifically. You're not just posting a nice photo. You're not just sharing a cool piece of information about a resort. Who are you directing that to? When you go and you sit down for coffee with a friend and you catch up with them, you know what's going on in their life. So you're like, hey, whatever happened with this, or whatever happened about that, or what'd you do about this, or what'd you decide about that? Like, what's going on with your friend and in their life, and you are addressing that. So it's the same sort of thing when you're communicating on social media, when you're writing your marketing message on your website. With everything that you're creating, you know exactly who you're talking to when you write that post out. And that way, that bride, like Lou said earlier, they know that, hey, she gets me, he gets me, they understand what I'm going through, they know my pain. So take some time first to think about where you want, what your end goal really is, and then work your way backwards from there, and ask yourself about your ideal client. Like, where do they like to hang out? Where do they like to shop? What do they like to do? What do they spend their disposable income on? Are they foodies? Do they already like to travel? And usually,
how many times have they traveled before?
Right.
Because that determines what they like in life, right? I mean, the non-traveling bride might be happier with a lower end product. Not that I recommend you sell lower end resorts, but I'm just saying, versus the young lady and gentleman who they've
traveled a lot. They have higher
to 6 places already. They have and so, but that's all right. Those people usually spend more money too, right?
Right.
So anyway, we just wanted to encourage you. We didn't want to take up a ton of your time, but wanted to get out there and start letting you guys know that we have something that we are trying to help people build in this industry and help them market their businesses especially. And like I said, our next Facebook Live will be focused on content, and we are going to be doing a Facebook Live from the Dominican Republic as long as the internet works. So
same time,
next week,
not same place for us, same place for you.
Right, we'll be on our 20K fam trip. So we have a big fam trip with a lot of our 20K planners that could make it. Not everybody could come, and we wish they could, but we're going to be down in the Dominican Republic at the Hilton La Romana with our students, and it's going to be an awesome time. But we're going to be doing a Facebook Live on content strategies down there and kind of give you some examples of what you guys can do if you're a travel pro and you're on a fam trip. We're going to be giving some ideas that you can do.
Yeah, the exact things that we did to really build our business and to be found organically. The goal obviously is to be able to set yourself up so that people find you without you having to spend money on advertising. And then once you really have a good system and process in place, then you can maybe put some money toward advertising if you feel like that's a good thing for you to do. But I know a lot of you are solopreneurs, so it's like there's only so many people we can work with in a year. So it's not anything where you have to be overly concerned about a whole bunch of funds that you have to have available in order to build your business. Like Lou and I, no experience in the travel business at all. 0 experience.
Years ago.
Started our business, back in 2007, started our business. We had no experience. And so, you can build a good business, a thriving business in today's world, even with all the competition, right? So,
and we didn't do it overnight, right? Yeah. We're not saying it's overnight, but hopefully we're helping people get there a little quicker, a little faster to reach your goal by some of the tips, advice in some of our programs that we offer. We try to help people get there quicker, faster, and safely. so that they're doing a great job doing people's destination weddings.
Right.
Their customers are happy, because if their customers are happy, they suddenly have a whole pool of people that are going to refer them.
Right.
And that's just another great.
It just, it grows from there.
Right.
But ask yourself some questions about your ideal bride and your ideal couple that you want to work with, and get to know, exactly who it is that you're speaking to, and get a better idea of their vision for their wedding even, and the type of style that they have, and who their guests are, and what their guests are all about. Are they going to be a social, lively group? Are they going to be more reserved, casual group of people? Just kind of painting a picture and creating an individual, right? So that everything that you do, everything that you write on social media, everything that you do content-wise, that you create, your website, everything, it all is speaking to that, that couple, to that bride. And we know that will make a huge, huge difference in just your ability to have peace, because it is hard. Like when you're all over the place of ideas, and like you just don't post anything on social media because you're like, it's like there's so many ideas you don't know what to post. So then you're overwhelmed, and then you don't do anything.
And some of you may think, well, wait a minute, I'm limiting myself if I'm just going after this certain type of bride. I mean, I'll sell any bride, anything, and you don't want to have, honestly, you're really not getting more leads going after every single bride. It doesn't work that way, because your closing rate and your effectiveness rate of going after the ideal customer, ideal bride, is going to be so much higher.
Yeah.
And your ad spend or your spending on your marketing is going to be so much lower, and you don't need 30. I mean, if you have a full staff of people, by all means, get hundreds of brides, but you don't need 100. You don't need 50. You need 5 to 10 amazing brides a year to have a 6-figure business. That's all you need. And, that's one of the things that we try to help people with. So when it comes to the brides that are nervous, they do ask a ton of questions, and we've dealt with many of them. Now, interestingly, though, those type of brides are the ones a lot of times that do want to pay for the help and hire you. So it's a catch-22. It's kind of like, it's hard to deal with them sometimes because it adds stress to you, and at the same time, they're the type that are afraid to do it on their own. Right,
and since you understand them, I think that's really good.
It depends if she wants more of them.
Yeah, that's a really good thing for you to be able to to not get frustrated with them, but rather come from a place of love when you're, because there are times when when you're having to answer so many questions, it's like, oh my goodness. But I would suggest, actually, for you, if you wanted to, if there's like kind of a list of questions that the majority of your couples ask, then go ahead and start creating like a frequently asked questions guide, or even a video where to help them kind of through the process. And generally speaking, the more you communicate in advance and give them the expectation, the less you'll have any type of excess questions and like really people just constantly asking you for things. So it's a communication that you can do up front, maybe, that will help you also kind of guide them along the way, and giving them that step-by-step will probably give them some peace as well.
Yeah, but we totally understand, because we have dealt with those, but they are the ones that usually want help and will hire too. So it's a...
She said 34 pages. Okay. Okay, so frequently asked. Okay, so maybe let's break that down into some shorter...
Frequently asked words. No,
shorter blurbs, depending on where they're at in the process, right? Because this is a process, so you kind of send them out, like when they're coming into that next phase in the destination wedding planning, you send them out those frequently asked questions that have to pertain to that season of the planning. Maybe that'll help too.
Or, even if there's a top 10, if you could generalize some of those into a top 10 list, you could put a top 10 list of the top 10 things that will make your wedding less stressful.
Right.
And my life too. No, don't add that part. But they're going to make my wedding less stressful. And you just, give it that at least 50% of their worry might be subsided. Then you only have to deal with 50% instead of 100%.
Right. If we charge a quote fee up front. So when it comes to planning, my process really is, especially for destination weddings, is to have people consult with me. Okay, I have a phone consultation that I do, and it's complimentary. at the end of the phone consultation, I let them know what it takes to work with me. You know, this is my list of services, and they can decide from there. I do not give them any details or information until they commit to working with me, and we have a contract, and of course I have a professional planning fee. And then the same sort of process with the honeymoons, obviously not near as big of a professional planning fee. But I do recommend that you don't start throwing out quotes and just getting people, like I do not pick up the phone. People call me from my videos, okay? I have YouTube videos out there. They'll say, hey Tami, I saw you on YouTube. I want you to help me with my destination wedding. This is what I want to do. This is what, blah, blah. And I'm like,
we always have to stop them and say,
I need to schedule,
process.
I need to schedule a consultation with you so I can be
Right.
focused on you and spend my time with you, and, and make sure that I don't have any distractions and all of that. So I don't just start taking orders over the phone. I don't allow people to run the show for me. I have a process. I run that process, and it helps everything be smooth for everybody. Because usually they're so, they're anxious and they want answers and they're stressed out, and so then they're like, okay, this lady might be able to help me, like I gotta just call her right now. And they're not coming from a place of being like mean or anything. They just are like anxious, and so then I just need to kind of,
as Corinne knows,
give them that peace of mind that there's a process to this, and it will work in your favor if we consult.
That does two things. Number one, it sets you up as a professional that you are. You're a professional, right? You need to respect yourself as a professional destination wedding planner.
Right.
If they try to break your rank, you're going to learn a lot about them. If they can't handle your process, I know it's hard because you might be like, oh, I don't want to let this lead go. The hard part is they could be a pain to work with.
Yeah.
Because part of this process is to see what kind of person they're going to be. You know what I mean? You want to see, will they follow me? Do they respect me enough to follow my process?
Right.
And second, if they're all about price, you're going to hear that pop up so many times on the phone. Well, can you just give me a quote? Can you just tell me how much? Can you just tell me how much? Just keep, because if they're going to be like that, you weeded them out, and you don't even have to schedule a consultation with them. But if they follow your process, and then during the consultation, you never talk price there. Now, you can give some generalizations, like they're like, well, about how much would my destination wedding cost? You could be like, well, it's going to be about $10,000 around there, depending on what resort you pick. I have some great ideas. Boom. That's all you say.
No more.
No more. Because what you're going to do is at the end of the consultation, this is something that we teach in our 20K system and toolkit, is you let them know that, hey, here's my list of services. I have some good ideas. If you'd like to hire me, here's my fee.
Right.
Now, we tell our planners in our system, though, if they are nervous about charging a planning fee, right, because some of them have never done that before, you could charge a pay-to-go fee to start with, but eventually you'll want to do a planning fee.
Right.
Because a pay-to-go fee would be like,
more like a deposit, right?
Like a
it's
deposit.
more of like, okay, you're going to secure my services with this deposit of $500.
Yeah.
And, as long as you don't cancel your wedding group, then that $500 will eventually be applied towards your final payment. So you can do it that way as well. And then that way you've got their financial commitment, because then they're not going anywhere. And it has to be a big enough commitment, because if it's a $50 commitment, I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have come to me because they did get started with another company that only charged them $50 and they weren't getting where they wanted, and then they came to me and they were like, well, it's only $50, so no big deal. They don't care that they wasted that person's time. They don't know that you make money only on commission. They literally don't, that has nothing to do with it for them. Right? They just need to get the service that they want.
So, around what, 250 at least? That's hardy. What would you recommend?
For a destination wedding group?
For a pay-to-go, but for a pay-to-go fee, not a planning fee. Because we usually would charge, to be honest.
I would say if you could start at $350, that would be best.
All right. Because Tami has charged between $1,000 and $2,500 for her planning fees, and she gets it.
Right, and those
So
are
you
just,
can get it,
just additional fees. They're not like a deposit or whatever.
That's not a deposit. That's just if you want to have our company plan your destination wedding, this is the fee. But we, we have testimonies of happy clients. We've built in a lot of proof that
Right,
we
I
can
didn't
get the
start.
job done.
I didn't start there.
We didn't start there. So.
Man, I wish I did. No, I don't
Yeah,
think I
right.
would have had the confidence to start charging right as soon as I started opened up my business doors. Oh, it's going
Right.
to cost you
We wouldn't have.
$2,000 to work with me. I think I would have
Yeah, that might have crashed and burned. So,
I don't think I'd be standing here right now talking to you.
so don't feel bad. Just start small, baby steps. Baby steps if you haven't. So
You're welcome. Did anybody else have any questions for us? We're
Yeah.
happy to answer.
Thank
any
you guys
questions
for joining
you
us.
have. Yeah.
Thank you for our 20K
Thanks for
planners
your
who joined us.
questions. And anybody have questions or need help identifying who their ideal client is, who their
Yeah.
target audience should be based on.
I will say that if you do want them to value service, I do think like if you're ever Facebook marketing, adding to them or trying to pick out an audience, they should be people that do like Shipped, Grubhub, Food Hub. There's so many of these different places out there now.
That maybe have like those food meal delivery.
Yeah, meal delivery
Services.
services that come to their house because they're busy. They don't have time to make dinner.
Right, right.
And if they appreciate that kind of thing, and a lot of millennials are into that, they'll appreciate service as long as they trust you, that you'll do the job for them. Your website looks the part. You're confident. You have some testimonies on there. And like we've told our 20K planners, you don't always have to have destination wedding testimonies. But if you've worked with clients that are happy, then you can put happy clients on there and people will know that you're doing a good job for you're going to do a good job for them because you have happy customers.
Right. So how in depth do you go into about your and their expectations outside of the phone conversation or email, as in post videos or websites?
Oh, so I think what you're asking, go ahead and put in yes or no. I think what you're asking is how much good info for free is on your website and in your videos that you're giving these potential leads before you talk to them, how much free stuff are you giving them before they even need to hire you or to consult with you? Here's the most important thing. I always say, and all the people I study always say, you give away your best stuff because it always comes back to you and people need to hear it over and over again, right? I mean, you give away your best stuff for free and if people, the mindset usually is if they're going to give me this and it was free, what are they going to do for me? So it's a little bit trickier. So with Destination Wedding, what I would do is something like this, and this is when we're going to talk about more content strategies in the next Facebook Live. But you would do, good content would be like, if you are at a resort, I know that not everybody can get to a resort, but if you're at a resort, you could actually go to a location and say, hey everybody, I'm at Hilton La Romana and I am at the beach wedding right here resort. I mean, I'm at the beach wedding location.
Right.
And let me tell you what makes this a great location. If you're looking for a location for your wedding, I want to show you that, look at the water right here. It's a beautiful view and the sand is perfect, but there's a platform. So if you don't want your feet in the sand, you can be on this platform and get married. That's really good information that does not at all tell them where to go for their wedding. Right? All you're doing is telling them what to look for in a wedding spot.
It gives them things to think about.
Because
a lot of the brides that you're working with, like after I'm consulting with them, they finally have a picture of what they really want. You have to be able to ask them and give them ideas so that they have a better idea of what they're looking for and they can get a clearer vision, because once they have a clearer vision of what they want to do, then it helps give them that piece, and then they need a plan and they need somebody to partner with to make it all come together. It's one thing to have an idea, guys. We've all been there. It's one thing to have a goal, it's one thing to have an idea, it's one thing to have a vision, but actually seeing it come to pass, actually getting to that place, like sometimes you need people to help you get there. And so being able to help them with their vision and giving them ideas of things that they may want to consider or things that would be important to them that they maybe didn't realize would be important to them. That is all really good information to share, because that will help them feel like they've got a little bit better idea of what they're really
sometimes
envisioning.
it's okay for you to bring up to their mind a potential problem that they could, hey Diana, that they could have, bring up a problem to them that they didn't think about.
Right.
Because that allows them to also be, and always, it really is important. The right resort really does make a difference. That's where our niche market is
Right.
matching the perfect resort for our couple's personality. And to be honest, if you were to give even if you wrote just a blog post or did a PowerPoint presentation on the best beach locations in the Caribbean for weddings, let's just say that. What you would say at the end, though, is these are all great, but what's the best one for you?
Right.
You need to find the best one. And that's my specialty. And, so I just want to let you know that finding the right location. So you funnel that great information back into what's the best for you.
Yeah.
Because you're not everybody, you're you. And that's where my specialty is. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation if you would like some help, or if not, check out my blog for more.
Or even if a bride knows where they want to go, it's like, well, you already know where you want to go. Now what? What's
Right.
the next step?
They don't know how to stuff
They
it
don't
all
know the
together.
next step. They've never done this before.
Right. Believe
Right?
me, in this industry for destination weddings, there is a lot of variables that you will be able to help people with, and they don't want to do it all. Most of the people that, if you go after the right people, especially the right bride, that Shipped and those services, they don't want to do it all. They just want you to help them figure it out and guide them. That's the best part
Right.
and they're willing to pay for it. So.
And then she's also asking how much do we explain our expectations? Our expectations of the relationship, the working relationship, of the services, of what the expectations of what specifically, Michelle, let us know.
Yeah. And I feel bad that I missed something from Katrina.
Corrine had said
Corrine.
that told us to have a great family.
Oh, hey, thank you, Ryan. Awesome. We'll do our best. We're actually running the fam.
We'll have fun.
It's our first. We're actually running this 20K family. Normally, a resort runs it for us, but we're kind of in charge of it, so it's kind of like, okay.
So who knows?
Woo, okay. So
It's gonna be a blast.
we're gonna do our best to make it a good experience for everybody and for us too, hopefully.
That's right. So the working relationship. So basically,
Okay.
what I do, Michelle, after I consult with a client, I mean, honestly, once through the consult, as we have taught you, Michelle, and you understand how this process that we've taught you, when you take this bride through the steps that we suggest that you do,
Yeah.
in leading them ultimately to that consultation. At the time the consultation actually happens, you're already 50% of the way hired. Okay?
Right,
At the
right.
end of that consultation, if you've had everything set up the right way before that, you're probably at 75% hired. Okay? And it's because you're at the end of that consultation, ultimately, that bride and groom should have a piece about them. They should be like, okay, I have a plan.
Right.
Because
And she's going to help me. We've
everything
got
is
this figured out.
so overwhelming to them. They
Right.
don't know what to do next. There's so many ideas all over here. They have no idea how to figure this all out. They don't know where to go. Whatever their roadblocks are, right? They talk with you. You ask them those questions. They get a better idea of what they're looking for. You give them an example of, okay, this is how this process works. This is what we do next. First, we're going to do this. Then we're going to do that. Then this is what we do. So, and then I say at the end of this, at the end of the consultation, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and send you my list of services. I'm going to let you guys talk about it and decide if working together is a good fit, or if working together is something that you would like to do. Let me know if you have any questions about my services. But I've already kind of talked about my services in the consultation. So so what I'm sending them really is kind of just a list of things that really give them this moment of, wow, she does a lot for me. And then they see my price to work with me, and they're like, okay, let's do it.
and usually we'll give, depending on the...
No, sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, why I can't afford that.
And we've let people sometimes pay it in 2 payments, the planning fee. But other times we'll do a discount, like a quick action, like a fast action.
Mm-hmm.
So like, hey, if you would like to hire, Tami would say, if you would like to hire me, based on your group size, it's normally $2,000. But if you decide within blah, blah, blah days, what do you normally do?
Then I'll cut like $500 off it.
Something
Or
like
if they
that.
were referred to me, like if it was a past bride who were like, and they went to that wedding as well, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember you, yeah. Like, well, because you're already a past client, this is what the service cost is going to be.
But always tell them this is what it normally would be, but for you, this is what it is.
Right, for you.
So.
So then they always see that and everything.
Yep.
But yeah, really, you do have to establish that, and then of course I do send a contract out. They have to sign the contract, return the contract.
Right.
They have to. Then I send them an invoice. I use PayPal, but you can use whatever processor you want to use. Then they have to pay for that PayPal invoice, and I always tell them that once I have the signed contract and the PayPal invoice back, then I will be able to schedule time to begin researching ideas for you or researching options for you. And that is the expectation going forward, that I'm not going, even if you just send me the contract, that's not good enough. It has to be both of them, and then I will schedule time in my planner to start researching options for you. And then I let them know. I start with three options initially, sometimes 4 if it's like a really like major tie, like I just can't decide between the last 2, right? But I let them know that that's what they can expect, and that I want to create just kind of an ease of making a decision. But then it's like they may be the ones, one of the first 3 may be the ones that you like, that you go with. They might not, but as you get, just give me your feedback. Send me your feedback, and that's going to help me, fine tune my research so that I can find the place that's really going to be a good fit for you. And that's basically, kind of
setting those expectations up. And then it's always good to remind them we're partners. Communicate well with me. Make sure that, get back to me. When I ask you a question, I just, if you can get back with me in a certain amount of time so I know what you need. All right, guys.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Take care. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.